Welcome back to Shem's Universe. So today, guys, we're going to go over the life path number 9, the reality behind it. So there's different compound numbers with the number 9, but they all are very, very similar in a sense. And they all have, I wouldn't say equal potential, but different potentialities in different areas that are very interesting to me, just because the 9 is considered to be the most adaptive number, I'd say next to the 5. I'd also say that the 9 is what I like to call, with a lot of people that got readings from me recently, if you're a 9, I went over this with you. I said your life path number means you're like the lobbyist, and the 1 is like the president. So the reason they'll say 1 and 9 are enemies is because the number 9 is the lobbyist behind the president. They're the power behind the power. They don't necessarily need to be seen. Anonymity is actually something that they prefer in comparison to being on the forefront. Some 9s are a bit different, but there's some 9s that really don't care about the public space. It's not really about that for them. The 9, if you look at the shape of it, goes inwards, so it's in their head. They're very internal, and as a result, they do things for the gratification of oneself and not really to please other people. So let's begin. We have the 18/9 to start off with. The 18/9 is considered to be the richest version of the 9 by far. If you have the life path 18/9, it's your self-made billionaire. That's sort of the life path for you. That was like the original Rockefeller. And what you're looking at is 1, which is leadership, 8, which is all about power and status, which adds to 9, which is completion. So when you put these things together, you then see somebody who is quite capable of being some sort of CEO or successful entrepreneur. They typically have very hard childhoods because of the 8 in there as well. So it gives them a bit of a rough upbringing so that they're able to actually take on a much bigger responsibility as they get older. The only way you can really be a great person is if you go through a great deal of suffering oftentimes. You have to suffer a lot in order to actually attain the things that you want. So if you're a 9 of any sort, understand that your suffering is not for no reason. It's not bad karma necessarily. It's there because it's meant to mature you faster so that you can actually be in a position of power and then sustain that same position of power. The next one we have is the 27/9. This is considered the most holy version of the 9 by far. This is considered to be the most systematic as well. So the 2 and the 7 make the person very diplomatic, nice, cooperative. The 7 is very introverted, so it's probably the quietest version of the 9, but very spiritual. And then you have the 9 itself, which is very spiritual. So these type of people can master things like martial arts, yoga, palmistry, numerology, astrology. It's the guru number. These people can also attain a great deal of wealth if they learn to channel their spirituality in the right way and then find balance between the spiritual world and the material world. So once you're able to sort of find that nice medium, you can be a spiritual person who's introverted if you want, but you can also be the type of person that's in hidden command. As I discussed with being a lobbyist, you guys can be that person that can actually go out there and get a lot of things done. So it's definitely a very powerful number to have. Next to the 23, at least in the series of the 20s, they consider the 27 in the Chaldean tablets to be pretty much the most powerful number, next to the royal star of the lion, the 23. So you have to take that with a grain of salt and understand that you have that great power. So it's up to you to channel your abilities in some sort of thing. Some people do it through scripture, meaning religion. Some people do it via athleticism. They find spirituality in the flow state. Some people do it through finding a group of people that they want to help. So they find empathy through that and love, and that transmutes into them manifesting more and more throughout their life, and it perpetuates. So it all depends on where you want to put your spirituality, but a great deal of your success is going to come from that. And you have to also look at your birth number and name number to sort of figure out where your spirituality would sort of go. For some people, it might be music. They might find it in the creation of music, the creation of arts, writing, what have you. But it's going to be something that's going to more than likely help people, or at the very minimum, influence. I, as the 9th letter, you guys will definitely be very influential, all 9s. Next is the 36/9. You have 36/9, which is the full heavenly triad, 3, 6, and 9. This is by far the most aggressive version of the 9, I'd say. 3, 6 is going to make the person very, very creative, very extroverted, and very, I wouldn't say self-centered, but they'd be very focused on their prerogative and not really be discouraged with the pitfalls and the hurdles that come with it. These are the type of people to kick off the boss's door and say, hey, I need a promotion right now, or I'm leaving, right? So this is a very powerful number to have. It gives you a lot of manifestation ability. If I was a 36 over 9, I would definitely be somebody who does affirmations at 3, 6, and 9 p.m. at minimum, or 3, 6, and 9 a.m. at minimum, or both, if you're actually that obsessed with your craft. These are the type of people that can get into things like politics. They could be successful business people, advertising execs. The list goes on, but what it really comes down to is that they're meant to have a more of a public sphere appearance in comparison to other 9s, because they have such an extroverted combination that comes with it. So they can be very, very powerful in the public space. So like a liaison for their company, or a spokesperson for the company, or somebody who is into athleticism and is famous or renowned for being the star of their team. All of these things come up for that version of the 9 simply because they have that extra oomph in comparison to the 18, which is all about self and then money, the 27, which is all about being cooperative, and then privacy with the 7. This one is 3 and 6, which are both considered quite extroverted numbers. The 3 for sure. The 6 is still a number that usually attracts a lot of people to them. They usually have the house as the hangout spot. So you have to understand that when you have these type of energies, you're meant to naturally be social. I'd only contest that as if you had like double 7, like 7 name number 7 for your birth number. It might counteract it a bit, and I'd still say you'd still have a very affluent social life. Your networking is the key to you getting rich, so please don't forgo it. The next and last one is going to be the 45 over 9. I'd say this is the most finessing version of the 9. This is one's very socially maladaptive. You have the 4, which is very pragmatic, the 5, which is out there, very fast thinking, that mercurial mind that can be in one place than the other very quickly. So these guys are very adaptive. Like I was saying at the very beginning of the video, 9 is the most adaptive number, in my opinion, next to the 5. A lot of these other numerologists will start saying the 9 is the most adaptive number because of the mathematics. We get that. I've been saying that for years. But you have the 5 that's the middle of the numbers 1 through 9, so it gets along with everybody. So in turn, when you have that, as a 45 over 9, you're able to be very organized, very structured, very disciplined because of the 4, and you have a very great affinity for wealth. I'd say this is the next richest one next to the 18. But then you also have this peculiar ability to outsmart people because of the 5. You have a chess-like mind and poker face. And the 5 makes you adaptive to everybody, different cultural backgrounds, what have you. So you guys are able to do things that other people can't do simply because you're always thinking one step ahead. These type of people do very well in like even different sort of fields like engineering. They can do very well in finance world, legalities, and they can also do well in like mechanics. So this is like more of like a hand-mind version of the 9, but you guys can do well in a very wide variety of things. And I'd say this is like the most versatile version of the 9 because of the 5. So it's like 2 very adaptive numbers come as a conglomerate, so they can do a lot. So you can do anything from athleticism to sitting in an office and do very, very well. Your most peculiar or special ability, I'll reiterate one more time before ending the video, as a 45 over 9, is the ability to influence other people but convince them. Like I said, it's the most finessing version of the 9. So you guys are able to tell people something and they'll believe it. So that might be good for a salesperson or a politician, of course. Right? So take that into consideration. If you have that life path number, your ability to persuade is probably one of the best out of all life path numbers, no matter whether we're looking at 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. You have one of the best abilities to convince people of things. So use that to your advantage. Don't use it for negative karmic abilities like just lying for no reason. Use it for a benevolent reason, where in which you can actually get things done and you can bring some sort of constructive purpose to society. All right, so that does conclude my video on the 9s. I hope you guys did find use in this series that I've done. Master numbers, to end this off, are not covered in Chaldean tablets. That's why I gave you guys the 11, 22, and 33 as part of it. But just like with the karmic debts, it's not something that's officially part of it where they're like, oh, that's a karmic debt number or that's a master number. So this does conclude that series, guys. I'm going to be going over some different Eastern ideologies now in respects to astrology, delve deeper into that, and then we're going to dissect this stuff this year, and we're going to get into some very deep conversations. Hopefully I don't get kicked off YouTube for some of these conversations, but it is what it is. So thank you guys so much for your time. I'll be back very, very soon. Peace.